you mean she didn't like The Shining? Who doesn't like The Shining? That's just weird. Toddlers know nothing these days about films, do they? It's just... Oh, hello, welcome to AskABrit. This is the format, of course, in which you find people across the world, across the planet, mainly in America, ask this boy, this British boy, any question you like, so long as you use this hashtag, AskABrit, in the comment section. That way I can find your question. And today we're going to kick things off. Jacob Fye asks, Lawrence, what are your top 10 British sweets and fizzy drinks? This could take a whole episode in itself. So I'll start with the sweets, the chocolates. Number one is Flake. You've got Whisper, Twirl, Crunchy. Crunchy actually is number one. No, I can't decide. Anyway, we're up to 4. Boost, kidding, who likes Boost? Double Decker is 5. Cadbury's Cream Eggs are the good ones, not the rock hard ones. The ones that are creamy, actually creamy, you know, as they're supposed to be. That's 6. Oh, Cadbury's Fruit and Nut, who doesn't like that? Except people with nut allergies. And I've got 3 more. Tell me 3 more chocolate bars. You can't, you're not actually with me. You're just watching. Oh, Caramac! Thank goodness. How did I nearly left Caramac off the list? That would have been criminal, actually. Mainly because I have a sponsorship deal with the makers of Caramac. That's not even true. That's not true. I've never spoken to them in the least, but I do like their chocolate bars. It is yummy. Again, I'm kidding. And 2 more Maltesers. They're from Malta. That could be a lie. Number 10 has to be Bongo. That's a drink. Oh, just anything. One more. I need one. Ripple. And then fizzy drinks. This is a tough one. I don't drink fizzy drinks anymore, so it's hard for me to comment on this. But when I did, I was rather partial to Lilt. Remember that? You can still get it in some places. So Lilt, Tizer, there aren't many. Vimto. And, oh, I'm struggling for 10, I must say, Jacob. Iron Brew. Iron Brew, that's 4. Some sort of shandy, no doubt about it. I would have shandy until the cows came home. Sometimes they did when I'd had too many. Oh, God, am I up to 5? That's insane. Don't know what that is. Gosh, another one. Fizzy drink, fizzy drink. It's like Fuzzy Duck, isn't it? Fuzzy Duck. Does he, you know, it's that one. Another fizzy drink. I got 5 more fizzy drinks to think of from Britain. I can't even think of 5. I can't think of 3. Never mind 2. This is the wrong order, backwards. Coca-Cola is British now, as is Pepsi. I've decided. Something else. 3 others. Three others. I've got 3 fingers left down, but a bitch ain't one. No, that's just to do with something else. It's a song by Jay-Z, and in fact has nothing to do with hose. Not garden hose, but literally prostitutes. I found out it's to do with dogs, police dogs. Not answering the question. I'm using avoidance tactics. I'm sorry, Jacob, I can't think of any more fizzy drinks from Britain, but you did get a good flavour there. No pun intended. It may have been intended. Scootaloo asks, what were some of your first thoughts on just how massive US freight trains can be compared to their much shorter European counterparts? It's true, and as you point out, some of them are 2 miles long. I actually measured one that was 27 miles long. That could be an exaggeration, but it's no exaggeration to say that some of these sort of freight trains that queue up are sometimes longer than an entire town or village or nursery. You know, that can be quite frustrating when you're trying to get to work very quickly and they stop you at the light as they're passing by. So what I usually do is just jump on the train and stow away to the city I'm trying to get to. That's a lie. I'm not condoning that kind of trafficking, if that's what that is. But I have been stuck behind a train before. Not behind a train, that would be ludicrous. I'd be on the tracks, but at the side of one. So that's enormously weird. Will you check out, Scootaloo asks another question, will you check out the Illinois Railroad Museum? I bloody will, now that I know about it. About an hour away from where I live, apparently, and it sounds amazing. I'm fascinated with trains, you know, not in a kind of nerd way. In England we have this sort of fascination, or at least we used to do, with taking down train numbers and things. When I say we, I don't mean me and a group of friends. I mean, this is a practice among some people that wear anoraks and have an interest in that kind of thing. But train museums would be amazing, right? Of course they would. I love a bit of train history because I'm a bit of a train fanatic, so I will check that out. Mr. Kenny Davenport, you're up next. Are either of these actually used in Britain? Old Chap or Old Bean? It sounds like it should be a cliche, right? That nobody actually uses those. It's just the way gentlemen used to speak in the past. Hello, Old Bean. How are you today? How is the wife? What? Yes, I mean, you'll hear it occasionally. It's usually used in a very ironic way, I think, you know. All right, Old Bean, how's it going, mate? You know, mate is, of course, the more modern substitute, or at least the rougher version of Old Bean. And Old Chap. There is something to be said for them. I think I overuse them here in America just to make myself sound even more British than I am, to try to curry favour with the local postal service if I need to get something moved fast. So I'm letting out all of my secrets. These are my trade secrets that are coming out to you today. These trade secrets sponsored by Caram. That's not true either. So let's move on to the next question. Thank you for that, Kenny. And next one question comes from Anglophile HQ4. What British television shows did you grow up with? Blackadder. Great show, hilarious, starring an Old Bean, as in Mr. Bean, Rowan Atkinson. I grew up watching all sorts, you know, EastEnders was on in the background, you know, and that's where I developed my sense of thug life, is EastEnders, and where I learned how to be depressed and miserable. You know, Coronation Street was always on in the background as well. Doctor Who, as a child, I watched it, then it was cancelled by the frickin' BBC in 1989. I had to wait 16 years like everybody else, you know. I'm impatient. I'm also outpatient sometimes. That joke should never be told, ever. I don't know, just a bunch of stuff really. I'm going all northern, just talking about Coronation Street. Excuse me, I am northern, so I am allowed to do this. It's affectionate toward myself, if anything. It's not taking the piss. Southerners, on the other hand. Tiffany Corbett, on a previous episode it was mentioned that some pubs in England have banned swearing. What is that all about, wankers? Load of bollocks if you ask me, the silly sods. Sod? Is sod a swear word? I always thought it was quite mild, but now that I say it, I feel like it frickin' relates to these people because they're numpties. Numpty is not a swear word, but it is bloody good. But this struck me as a bit odd because I've always thought Brits were more laid back in regard to this. I know that on shows like Graham Norton they can say things on air that you can't hear. Wondering what your thoughts are. Well, yeah, we are. I think we are more laid back. I mean, there is more swearing, for sure, on television. Here, I mean, they censor it so much that Die Hard becomes a 10-minute film, right? That's not even an exaggeration. I watched the shortened version because we were watching it with our 3-year-old niece. I'm making up a niece now. I don't know who she is. But she didn't like The Shining, the stupid... But yeah, no, swearing is definitely more prevalent on British TV. And I think that, you know, that goes hand in hand with society. We swear like dockers, a lot of us, especially dockers. They swear a lot. And it's somewhat accepted. I mean, not by certain members of society. My mother and my dad. I mean, you know, you'll have just best friends calling each other the C word. You know, I don't mean Christopher. That's my brother's name, actually. He's not a C word. So yeah, it is very prevalent, and I miss it. And I miss it. But you know, like I said last week or whenever it was, I can get away with using British swear words here and calling people wanker or, you know, pillock, and they think it's affectionate. Some of them do. Some of them left me with a black eye. I haven't done it in a while, actually. So next question, it comes from 7T8H4Z, who asks, 2 words I've heard Brits use and wondered if you also use them: gutted and gobsmacked, the 2 G words, or 2 of the G words. I do use them. I use the latter of those rather liberally, actually, gobsmacked, because this country and this world often leave me so. Gobsmacked, of course, to mean, you know, shocked, blown away, in disbelievement. That's not a word. Incredulous. It means, I love using the word incredulous, but I will substitute it with gobsmacked because of just the physical image that comes with that. Ah! Just slapped myself down. That's more painful than I imagined. I've got an ulcer on the inside of here. You know, ulcer means something else. It's a coleslaw, not to be confused with coleslaw, and that hurt. I slapped myself silly. Gutted. I feel gutted now for doing that. Gutted quite simply just means to feel disappointed that something didn't work out. You know, I was gutted that this video hasn't gone quite as well as I'd hoped. You know, but as 7T8H4Z correctly says, it sounds like you're pulling bits out of an animal. Anna Addison in Iowa, Marmite, yes or no? Yes, depending on the context. If it's on a twiglet, yes every time. If it's on a sandwich, I need some whiskey first. Okay, next question, final question in fact, comes from, this came in last night, from Holly Kleiss. Holly says, really high there didn't I? Holly says, as a cyclist, do you prefer a roundabout or a four-way stop? Or does it really matter? A nearby small town recently replaced a four-way stop and there has been nothing but chaos and complaints since. Isn't that always the way when a local area makes any kind of change? The whole public goes nuts, and then about 5 months down the road they look back and go, what was that all about? Crazy commotion. To answer your question, in theory I prefer roundabouts, just the quaintness of them, and I grew used to them in the UK because of the prevalence of them. But in practice, four-way stops at least have been a bigger part of my life in the last sort of year because of living in Chicago. So that has proven, I wouldn't say it's what I prefer, but it is there more commonly, so I'm more used to it by now. And it's pretty good. I mean, it keeps the taxes somewhat at bay. That's a lie. The taxes are not being kept at bay. They should be. They should be kept in the bay just off Lake Michigan and then pushed under. No, without the driver. I don't want to kill anyone. Just all the cabs go on. I'm kidding. The cabs do a tremendous service, you know, for me when I'm out on the town and I'm slaughtered. And I don't want to ride my bike. But when I'm cycling, geez. No, I'm kidding. I love taxi drivers. That was a very roundabout way of saying that traffic circles, roundabouts, rotaries, they have 3 different names in this country, are my absolute favourite. Not favourite thing in the world, just of the 2 options, that's what I take. Thank you, Holly. Thank you, everyone. That's it for this week's episode of Ask a Brit. Of course, if you want me to answer your question next week in volume, what are we up to, whatever it is, then leave your question with this hashtag in the comments below this video, or any video, not any video. I don't want you to go on to BBC Travels videos and leave this hashtag because they'll be very miffed. Or actually, maybe they'll check me out. Who knows? And if you want to subscribe to Lost in the Pond, you must do so. That is, in fact, a mandate of mine. Most of you probably already have. And you can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and it's very important that you follow me on Instagram because I'm self-obsessed and I want you to look at pictures of me. Not really. I just want my numbers to shoot up over 1,000. I've got quotas to fill. And until next time, guten Nacht. That's good night. It's morning. Guten Tag. Guten Morgen. Goodbye.